Hey, welcome back. All right, so in the last tutorial, we talked about the game design document, or GDD. This tutorial, we're actually going to dive in to a tool that I use, Milanote, to make a GDD that can be shared so that other people can collaborate with you if you wanted to. It's an online tool and it is free. Now there are, the free version has a limit on the number of cards that you can put into it, but typically this project, and you have plenty of space in it, so you shouldn't run into any issues. But you don't even have to use this one. I'm going to talk you through how I'm using it, and there are other free and paid for collaboration tools that you can use that will do the same thing. You just might need to do a little bit of extra work, but I'll talk to you about why I like Milanote and why I'm using it, and then we'll get into how it actually works. So let's take a look at it. All right, so let me go all the way up to the top section first here. So this is home, and in the home section you can have multiple project boards, right? So this is the Rollerball board. This is a sci-fi 3D model concept I'm working on, and this was a video short that I did several months ago. You have to create an account. It's at milanote.com. Once you log in and you get it open, this will be blank. There's nothing in here. And there might be actually, I'm trying to remember, there might be a sample project in here. But if there isn't, the way you get started is over here on the left-hand side. All of your initial tools are here. Of course, up along the top is your information. You can get help. There's quick notes and things like that up here in the help section. And of course, your settings over there on all the way on the right-hand side. But over here, if you grab a board, it's just a blank board. And then once you select something, you'll see that the menu kind of changes over here. You can always go back to the previous menu if you want to. But this allows you to change the icon. So right here, I can click on the icon. I can change it to one of these other ones. So if I wanted it to be something like an A, I can put an A in it, right? You can also upload your own images, and you can choose an image to do that. And we'll get into that in a second. So that's how you can kind of change this. So then you can double click on it. You can also change the name here if you wanted to, or if you double click, you open it up. Once you open it up, this is where your workspace is, and a couple things happen. Of course, this menu comes back on the left-hand side. Over here on the right-hand side, you now have the ability to share, to export, and you can also change the view, right? So you can export it, PDF, PNG images, things like that. I haven't really done this that much, mostly because I share it and do collaboration right here. So sharing and collaboration, if you have somebody you're working with or a team of people you're working with, you can put their email address in here. Or if you have a list of people you want to share it with, you can grab this link, copy the link, and send that out via email to several people so that they can get access to your Milanote. You can also, if you have a client or if you're using this as a pitch board, for example, and you don't want anybody to be able to change it, but you want them to be able to see it, you can give them a link for that so that they can go in. They can give you comments if you let them. You can turn all of these things on and off right here to do so. Okay, so back to this. So the other thing that happens is once we're in a new board, a template will pop up over here on the right-hand side. And since I'm mostly doing video game stuff right now, this is the template that usually pops up for me. Yours may be different. It may not have anything suggested here initially. But since I'm usually doing that, that's why these popped up. But if you want other templates, you can click on more templates, and then there'll be a bunch of things. You can even search it, and there'll be a bunch of different templates. This Milanote is really designed for creators. So, fashion design, film, creation, all kinds of things in here. You can scroll through this. Productivity, there's a student's one, I'm not sure what that is, visual arts, web design. So a ton of different things in here, architecture. So you can go in here, and then there are sub ones underneath it. So if I go back, if I just type in game, for example, a bunch of game stuff will come up, even more than what I actually had open to begin with. A bunch of different things in here for game design that are really built out and really useful. We're going to jump into, I'm just going to grab one, for example. So I am actually going to type in plan. And there should be one that comes up as game marketing plan. So game marketing plan, when I click on that, what happens is it gives me an example template. and it shows me kind of how this all works together. And so the game marketing plan, even though it says game marketing plan, this is probably the top level at the very beginning of what you're going to think about for your game. There's some things that obviously you're not going to be filling in yet, like, your marketing budget. But over here on the left-hand side, what is your game's name? What is the message you want to deliver with this game? What's your target audience? Some of those are the key things. If you remember the GDD, some of these are some of the key things that we should be looking at. And this is where that's located is in this particular board. And then if you decide to go with it, you can use this template. You can even keep this example content if you wanted to have the example content stay there, so it helps kind of nudge you along. That's the reason why I like Milanote, is because of these templates. There's things in here that'll help nudge you along. I don't necessarily need the pictures, but just having this little tile right here that says game overview kind of gets my brain working and helps me think. So I can just say use this template. All of those pictures will go away, but the little tiles stay, and they're already organized for me so that I can get started doing some of this, some of the things I need to do. For example, this right here, if I click in this blank space, this column, that's what these are. These are columns, so I can drag in a column, and then I can drag in boards. But you can make this board look anything that you want. So that's all these are right here. There's tablets. You can even find links. You can add video links, audio links if you want. You can have some of your sound samples if you want for your game. So you can have some of your audio, maybe your ambient music, maybe some of your interaction noises and sound effects and things like that. You can even throw in here if you wanted to. Internet links, notes, all kinds of stuff. So it's really useful. So let me jump into the one that I've actually already started working on, and we can talk through this a little bit more. This template was actually the game design document template. So if this would be your top choice one right here, and then, this is what you kind of start off with. You see the brainstorm, game moods, right? So this is your concept, your level designs, your character design. What I've done is, because, a GDD is flexible, it's a living document, you change it to be whatever you need it to be. What I've done is I've added in that overview. Here's the game marketing plan right here. So in the overview and vision for the game, my marketing plan is in here. My project planning, so I have my timeline, any challenges that might come up, so like your risks or the things that you need to manage, and then specific assignments to different employees, what they should be working on, looking at. Not sure I actually assigned that to anything. Oh, it's actually under team, I believe. So a team planner. You can also do a team structure, but we could pull up a team planner so we can actually break this down by tasks and then by specific persons and what they're supposed to do. So there's that as well. And then over here, game concept. So the little blurb about what the game is, a little 30-second elevator speech, if you will. Then your brainstorming. So in here, for my brainstorming about this game, I came up with an early concept. I wanted it to be a ball. Went out and got some artwork. I used ChatGPT, or you can use any AI to help you create some of your artwork if you need it, so that you don't have to draw, because that is not my strong point. Huh. Oh, actually it's in here, sketch. My bad. All right, so sketch right there, and you can draw on it. Beautiful artwork. That's about my skill right there. I am good at stick figures. All right, so anyway, you can add in some of your intent for what your game is going to be as you're brainstorming, come up with different ideas. And this one just had 4 themes in it, but you can always add more. Come up with additional ideas, put in names, you can put a start, you can label it. So there's a ton of different things you can do with this. And while you're going through it, start thinking about some of the lists you need. So there's a to-do list over here, and you can put a title on it, start working through, checking them off as you get them done. Mood board's important. You know, a lot of people like skipping it because they're not sure what to do with it. But a mood board, I like to go out on the internet as I'm starting to try to come up with some concepts. I'll put together a folder on my computer, and I'll start thinking about some of the things I want. So one of the things I was thinking about was ancients. So I wasn't sure what they're going to be. Since this is a rollerball, I grabbed some materials and just kind of made them stone and threw that in there. But then, as I start to work on blueprints, I can throw some blueprint pictures in here. This particular one, because I'm going for the mood of the game, I have my castles. So I have castles in here because I'm thinking I want this to be sort of like I said, an ancient game. I want ancient technology. I want it to have a very organic and stone feel to it. So that's what I went for. I started looking for castles. I thought about what else besides castles. There's caves and dungeons, catacombs. So I started throwing some of that stuff in here, temples. And as I started working through that, then I started saying, okay, well, I want to see what that looks like with my character in it. So then I started throwing together some concept art, going through ChatGPT and coming up with some different ideas, walking through it, using AI to help me kind of play around with some of the ideas I was looking at. Again, tons of stuff we can do. And these pictures are pictures I grabbed off of an older version. So remember, this is Rollerball 2025. There's actually an original Rollerball that is in my tutorial series. Uses some of the older stuff in Unreal Engine 4. And we're updating it using this one and giving it some more capabilities. So I grabbed some of those pictures and drug them in here, kind of used as reference. This is the HUD that we created in this game, so I did grab that, and also our current boost, so I could reference it in some of these notes later on. But in the mood board, this is important. Grab throwing pictures in here, start throwing pictures and ideas, getting color schemes. So I start looking at colors. I'm looking at organic colors. You can also even throw sounds in here for your mood board if you wanted to capture certain sounds and feelings. I haven't done that yet, but so I haven't started looking for sounds, but cave-like sounds, dungeon sounds, temples and things like that, background, eerie noise, creaking, those type of things, right? And then as I start to work through that, I start thinking about materials I might need. This material rock face, I'll show you how I'm using this, but Polyhaven is polyhaven.com is a good site for being able to find some of the textures that we need for free. Also Quixel in Epic and things like that. All right, then we start talking about core gameplay and what the gameplay loop might look like. Still got to work through this. The mechanics, we have worked on the blueprints, got some of the mechanics going. Secondary systems right now, we're going to add a light because if you're going to have your player in the dark, they kind of need to see to be able to play, right? So we're going to add that in later. Our character design, of course, is in here. I have the level design. So as I start thinking about my levels, I start doing some grabs on Fab or wherever else. If there's a kit that might be useful, I find a kit that I might be able to kit bash and take stuff out of it that I want. Maybe it might just be some textures. Maybe it is just a rock or two, who knows? But kit bashing is how I get a lot of that. Also, start thinking about some of the other materials I might need for that level. So if I'm going to do some lava inside of a cave, how am I going to do that? I'll show you how that process worked in a future tutorial. And then the main one, world building, again, throwing the different pictures in there, putting them next to the description of what that level is going to look like and kind of how it plays, some inhabitants ideas, and also my idea for technology in this game. It's going to be stone interface pads because I want mine to be ancient. Maybe you want yours to be sci-fi, so maybe you want to start looking for sci-fi stuff. Maybe you want it to be more modern age, so 20th century, 21st century type, doors and interfaces and things like that. So those are the types of things that will help as you start answering some of these questions and looking for inspirations. Then you can start looking for those models on different marketplaces, different websites, 3D Warehouse, Fab, of course, and I'll put some other resources out there as we start to go down that process. Over here, I'll give you so some of these are the model packs that I've found. I'll throw these out there if you're interested in dungeons and ruins and those type of things. If you're not, you don't have to worry about those. And then again, this is going to be a 3-level game. We're working on 3 levels for this tutorial. So I've stopped at level 3, but of course this could continue on and continue on. The game concept for me on this one is that our player, who I named Mike now, so the Rollerball now has a name. His name is Mike. 8 years ago, he's playing outside around his home, chased a butterfly, fell through some bushes, and must have fallen through a portal because he ended up on a strange world. He figured out that he can move from world to world by using these portals. Every time he jumps through a portal, he hopes that his next stop will be home. But it's been 8 years now. In the original Rollerball, he was shiny and new and clean looking. In this one, that's what driven my weathered and worn look, because it's been some time has passed and Mike has gotten beat up and kind of broken down a little bit. So he's beginning to wear down. This actual concept, because for this one, my 3 levels are going to be all on this world. So we're going to come through a portal in the caves, and he's going to have to work his way through the dungeon level. So through the caves, through the dungeon level, and then through the temples, and then temples or castles, whatever it's going to be for the 3rd level. And then at the end of that, he'll open another portal and move to another world, and that'll be a future game. So this one will be, just one portal at the beginning, one portal at the end. This will allow some movement between levels still, and also then move on to the next portal. So he's going to have to accomplish some tasks so that he can go to the next portal and hopefully get home. So that is kind of where I'm at. As you can see, some brainstorming. When I refer back to my Milanote here for my game, my Rollerball game, this will be what keeps me on track. This will be the thing that I can refer to as the things I want to accomplish on my checklist, and the things that I might need to add to it as I'm going through, because even though my checklist, for example, says level 3, it's not fully built out. Some of the tasks that I'm going to have to do, like how am I going to, are doors just going to be automatically unlocked, or is he going to have to unlock doors, which means he has to find a key. Some doors will be unlocked, some will not. You need a key. So that dynamic hasn't been worked through yet, but that is a dynamic that's listed in the levels. So that requires some additional, coming back into the GDD and updating it. So it's a living document. You're going to update it, but anytime that you come back into your GDD and you had a great idea and you want to add that great idea to your game, you have to stop and look at the rest of the game and see if it really fits and if it really adds to the game, because you've got to make sure that you don't get your game so big and so out of hand that you're never going to get it finished. So that's, again, like I said last tutorial, that's really the purpose of the GDD for me and for a lot of game developers, is to help communicate their vision, make sure everybody on the team has the vision, and to continue to move it forward so that the game gets finished at the end. If you're using your GDD in that method, putting your resources in there, it should be a great tool for you. So start thinking about your game, your Rollerball version, whether you want it to be, set in an old world like mine, a modern world, a future world, a fantasy world, a crazy design world, whatever it might be. You want it stylistic? Do you want it to be realistic? Do you want it to be cartoonish? All of those things are things that you can answer as a game designer, and as you can start looking for your assets, as you start building out your GDD in whatever platform you want to use. Like I said, Milanote has templates. That's why I use it. I use it in my classroom, so my students have templates to help them get their thought process going and realizing what they're trying to look for. And as they start to go down that road, they find those things. So again, but if you have some other platform you want to use, certainly use that as long as it works for you. All right. Again, if you have any questions, please hit me up down in the comment section. I'll take a look at it, get back to you. Don't forget to like this tutorial if you like it, and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for playing. I'll see you next time.